What's up everybody, D-Man back. Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla Minus One news and updates. So this is going to be our recap for the first half at least, because they are going full sicko mode, of week one. I don't know if I'm going to do these like weekly recaps because I'm already 2 videos behind at this point somehow, even though it's been like a little over a week since the first teaser. I guess it's almost been 2 weeks. Either way, I'll figure out a format for these that works. But point is, lots of news dropped. I have very little time today, so I'm going to try and run through this stuff as quickly as I possibly can while still giving my thoughts on it. And let's start out by jumping into it with some incredible artwork as always. Talk about things that went sicko mode. Look at this one. This one is incredible. This Godzilla Minus One poster featuring Godzilla standing there next to the clock tower. And this was done by Tony Stella. This looks great. I would love if this was like the official poster for the movie. This looks fantastic. Great work here. In other news, Godzilla Minus One trended for 3 days straight after the trailer release, meaning that obviously people are interested in this movie. It seems from what I have noticed, generally online, in the online hemisphere, for some reason, although the movies do better in the box office, the American movies do, the Japanese Godzilla movies get more buzz online. Maybe it's just because they're viewed as authentic Godzilla movies, or maybe it's because there's a more global audience, or maybe it's just because they looked really good. I have no idea. This actually backs up something I talked about in my all the things we know about Godzilla Minus One video that I made a bit ago. KDM came out and confirmed what I said in that video and what I've been hinting at for years, the thing that I was told many years ago in 2019, the thing that I was told by people from Toho that I've never really known if I was allowed to talk about, and that is that there is no World of Godzilla. KDM confirms that there is no World of Godzilla. There is no cinematic universe. The World of Godzilla referred to a global brand, putting Godzilla in new merchandise, new materials, making new Godzilla movies, and allowing the development of Godzilla's current cinematic universe, the Monsterverse. The Monsterverse is the World of Godzilla. KDM confirmed that, so it was nice to hear that I'm not the only one who's heard that. Godzilla Japan posted the Minus One poster, the English poster, with the 70th anniversary announcement. They love to call this the 70th anniversary, even though it isn't, and a shout out to Godzilla X Kong the New Empire. I don't know why, but it felt very special to see Toho shout that movie out. They also announced that the Japanese release date for Godzilla X Kong the New Empire is TBD, but I guess that's more of a GXK related update than a Minus One update. Godzilla Minus One was all over Japanese newspapers, appearing in tons of different formats, so you can see a bunch of the newspapers here. Now, the text was too small for me to be able to translate any of these, but I have a feeling that there's not much new information in them anyways. If I had to guess, this is just going to be covering the stuff that was in the official press releases that we've all talked about already. But there you can see them, and it's a lot of fun. There's something special about seeing a physical newspaper. Regal confirmed that Godzilla Minus One is in fact coming to US theaters. It will be coming to Regal theaters on December 1st, and they were not the only large American theater company to do so, as AMC Theaters, the largest American movie theater company, confirmed that Godzilla Minus One would be coming. They also posted a little synopsis for the movie that we haven't seen before, stating, "From the ashes of war, a new terror rises." Cool description. I like that tagline a lot. That's really cool. That's a very Shin Godzilla-esque tagline. I love it. That is really awesome that this movie seems to be getting a wide, full theatrical release here in the United States. I am expecting it to be subtitled, but I also wouldn't be shocked if there was a dubbed version to go along with it. As I talked about in the last Godzilla Minus One news and updates, this is the first time Toho themselves are handling the domestic United States, so I guess they're international, but for us, the domestic distribution of a Godzilla movie, at least to my knowledge. If they have done it before, this is the first time they have done it in such a long time, but I believe this is the first time that Toho themselves is going to be distributing a Godzilla movie that they made in Japan into the United States. That's really exciting. Toho is leveling up big time. There was a Forbes article that got really popular, and they actually had a mistranslation of Toho's press release stating that Godzilla Minus One shares continuity with 2016's Shin Godzilla. I saw this blow up, lots of people reported on this, and it wasn't true. Forbes actually re-corrected their article, and now it just says Godzilla Minus One follows Shin Godzilla, not necessarily in continuity, not at all. It's just saying it is the Japanese movie that comes after Shin Godzilla. It's the next installment of the Godzilla franchise. The Forbes article is actually very good. I would highly recommend you go check it out down below. To do a mini little breakdown of it, my favorite piece of information they gave was that they estimated Godzilla's global brand as being worth $5 billion and ranked it as one of the most valuable properties above Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, Care Bears, Planet of the Apes, Friends, Terminator, Indiana Jones, G.I. Joe, and Minecraft. And the only one on that list that I kind of disagree with would be Minecraft. That seems to have a little more staying power and general popularity, but also at the same time, everybody who plays Minecraft knows what Godzilla is, so maybe I'm wrong. Godzilla seems to be more profitable. They also talked to insiders and found that Godzilla's global brand is stronger today than it has ever been in the entire history of Godzilla. That makes complete sense to me. This is, after all, the first time we're having American and Japanese Godzilla movies released side by side. -1 posters appear in the Kotobukiya Akihabara building. There's a Godzilla corner in it where they sell Godzilla merchandise, and the Godzilla -1 posters have popped up there. They sell general Godzilla merchandise as well. It just looks like one of those little tiny pop-up Godzilla store-esque things, but they do have the Godzilla -1 poster featured front and center now. Speaking of merchandise, the Godzilla store announced that T-Shirt Festival 2023 was going online. A -1 t-shirt line was revealed and will be coming soon. However, at the moment, some of the -1 shirts are already on sale for T-Shirt Festival at the Godzilla store, including this one that I actually do not think is a good t-shirt. So of course we can see that they're planning on using that white and black G logo, but they have put it on this t-shirt. It's gray on black, and then there's the Godzilla spines on the front of the t-shirt. I actually don't think this is a great t-shirt. I respect the fact that they have already put Godzilla merchandise on sale for -1. That's pretty cool. And then T-Shirt Festival is going on right now, so a bunch of t-shirts and stuff are on sale. Getting into the bigger stuff, Bandai Movie Monster Series Godzilla 2023 was revealed. This is a $25 figure. It is 6 inches and will release on August 7th. I think he looks pretty solid. As far as Bandai figures go, this one looks great. Lots of good texturing. I like the paint job. I think the splashes of brown are very interesting. From what we've seen in the trailer, he looks to be more brown than gray, but this seems to tell us that that might just be the lighting. I also like his eyes. They've done a very good job bringing those pupils to life, and his mouth looks fantastic. This is not the only one they're releasing. That is just one of two, because they are also releasing a second Godzilla -1. The second one is the Bandai Monster King Series Godzilla 2023. This one is $50.99. Woof, that's expensive. It stands at 9.64 inches and will release on November 11th, so much closer to the movie's release, actually after the movie comes out. So it's a bigger Godzilla. It's generally the same, except that his tail's in a new pose, probably to save on that precious shelf space. He's got a little more brown on him, and overall he looks pretty good. I don't love the way that the dorsal spines stick into the back, like there's clearly a block where those have been placed in, and that's always looking ugly whenever I see toys do that. But overall, I think this one looks very pretty as well. I'm sure this one's going to be a hot ticket item, as the bigger Bandai figures always are. But these look much better than the Bandai Shin Godzillas, so we're moving in the right direction. Those look great. Now, it's important to note that there are two different Bandai Godzillas coming to us, and they're called different things, because we'll talk about in the next -1 update how that becomes relevant again. Next up, here's the juicy one. I love it. I've pre-ordered it. It's great. This is the SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2023. It has been revealed. It is 6.3 inches and will run you anywhere from $105 to $160 depending on where you get it. Oh, I think it looks incredible. It actually has way more brown on it than I would expect, not in the way that the trailer makes it look like Godzilla's design is brown, but in that it looks like Godzilla's almost covered in a little bit of dirt. I also love that when you look at him head on, you can see his back dorsal spine sticking up above his head, just showing how crazy large his spines are in this new movie. They've done a very good job with it. He's got the scarring on his cheek. He's got such a rich sculpt, so much good texture. I love the paint. I love the whole thing. I love the shard on his shoulder. All of it's looking great. It gives us one of our best looks at Godzilla we've gotten so far. We can see it from all different angles, and we can see that even his tail spines are like really wild and strange looking. They've done such a good job making this Godzilla look distorted and in pain and monstrous and scary and slightly grotesque. I'm a big fan of it, and I also love that they gave him a little tongue. It's something that a lot of toy companies don't do often. It's looking so fantastic. I also love the little membrane in his mouth and the eyes and the way they've done the pupils. It's all looking great. The SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2023 will be released in November 2023. Like I said, it stands 6.3 inches. It's based on the 3D CGI data from the movie with hand sculpting elements and painting done by Yuji Sakai. It was directly supervised by Takashi Yamazaki, making, I think, the first time a Godzilla director has directly supervised the creation of an SH Monsters figure, with, for the first time ever in Monster Arts history, articulated toes in order to recreate additional movements of Godzilla from this movie. So I guess his toes are going to be able to wiggle in this movie. Just shows again the level of detail they're putting into this new film and how they are truly taking extra steps to make sure Godzilla feels like a living, breathing creature. Also, this is again going to what we'll talk about in the next video, but it is important to note that SH Monsters does not call Shin Godzilla Godzilla Form 4. They simply call him Godzilla 2016 and refer to his other forms as Godzilla Form 2 and Godzilla Form 3. Again, that will become important in the next video. video. Yamazaki says it's amazing how accurate this figure is and how anyone can hold his team's hard work and dedication in the palm of their hands, the power of Godzilla in the palm of their hands. Sakai was excited to see this new Godzilla design, says it's fantastic, and hopes that the world will enjoy this figure. Seems that they've given this one extra special love and attention on a level that they don't normally. We also see photos of Yamazaki with Godzilla and Yuji Sakai with Godzilla, so that's great. SH Monster Arts Godzilla 2023 was also on display. Look at him, he's on display. I don't know where he was on display, but he's seen behind glass curtains. He looks great. Again, he just looks fantastic in person. This also, again, gave us a really good look at what that design was going to be. Another thing that gave us a great look at what the design was going to be was Banpresto. They announced an upcoming lottery prize Godzilla 2021 and Godzilla 2023. I'll talk about that Godzilla 2021 in a Monsterverse video. But for now, Banpresto's 9-inch Godzilla minus one A prize version. Again, it's important to note that they're having a variant version. They call it the A prize version. I don't know what exactly that entails, but that's what it's being called. It's not being called Godzilla 2023. It's being called the A prize version. So variant A. This is a soft vinyl figure sculpted by Yuji Sakai. He's getting a lot of work. And you can see it's been revealed here. We don't know how much it is or how to get it yet. Or at least I don't. Theater pre-sale production merchandise was revealed. It is on sale at select theaters and at the Godzilla store. There's a ton of great merchandise here, but it clearly reveals our first look at Godzilla 2023. Oh, he looks great. So there's a couple little Godzilla cutouts. They look pretty good. I don't know what you do with them. I don't know if they're magnets or whatever. I can't tell what they are. There's like one that's a keychain or a couple that are keychains, but we see a couple different renders of the Godzilla 2023 design. We see him standing kind of facing us. That looks great. He looks fantastic. We see one with his back turned to us. That's from the poster. We actually see they've recreated the poster up there with that little necklace lanyard. There's also up close pictures of his mouth and his dorsal spines. Those look great. And then they also have an additional Godzilla model where he's facing us. And then again, that shirt that I just don't think looks great. But again, it's interesting that it's called the Type A shirt, or the Type A Godzilla and the Type B Godzilla. And it's just referring to the posing of him, if he's looking at us or if he's looking away. Again, I know I'm hammering this home a lot. It's because it will be important in the next video. One thing I do notice here is that the Godzillas look a little different. I don't think there's two Godzillas, or at least I don't think that's what we're seeing here. All I'm pointing out is, for some reason, his coloring is a little off. In one of the ones where we see him, he looks much bluer than in the other one where he looks a lot more brown. Much like how in the trailer he looks very brown, but from all the figures it looks like he'll be more bluish gray like normal. Maybe that's just because the lighting changes on him and that will cause him to look differently throughout the film. That could also be a good way for them to sell multiple versions of these toys. If his color changes depending on the lighting, that's a good way to sell more figures. But it didn't stop there, as we got our first official reveal of the CGI model for Godzilla in this movie, and I personally think he looks incredible. He's super sharp and spiky. I love the tail. I think it looks great. I like that it's not horribly long. It looks very proportional to Godzilla. I like the spines on the tail. They're very crazy. The spines on the back are just so absurd and wild. I love the face. I love the teeth. I really, really like the face design. I like the way that he also has all sorts of different skin textures. Like, nothing about this guy is right. He's got the bumpy scar tissue of the normal Godzillas. He's also got some more rigid areas like the Monsterverse Godzilla. Those feet in particular look like if you were to take the Monsterverse texturing for Godzilla's feet and slap them on a Toho Godzilla's feet. They're also huge, by the way. He's got some of the biggest feet out of any Godzilla. His hands also have a bit of that Monsterverse design. So does his neck, and his chest looks like something exploded out of it. It looks very scarred and damaged. What I really love about this Godzilla is that nothing looks natural on him, and he looks like he is a victim of mutation. I think it looks great. It looks like all these barnacles or something is growing across his skin, and it looks painful. Those big shards sticking out of his elbows are, again, they're very vicious, they're very deadly, they're very fearsome, but they also feel like they would hurt. And I love that. I love the fact that this Godzilla really, really feels like a monstrosity, like an aberration that was never supposed to exist. I'm a big fan of the design. It's taking clear influence, in my opinion, from the Heisei Godzilla and from the legendary Godzilla, and it's kind of smashing the two of them together in a very grotesque way. It also clearly builds upon what Yamazaki was already doing with Godzilla the Ride. Here we have a picture of that Godzilla the Ride design. And some immediate differences is just how brown this one is. This one is also much more normal. You see the spines are much more normalized. He's much more proportional. His feet aren't incredibly massive. His hands are a little more proportional. His head looks like it fits on his body a little better, like his body's not outgrowing his head here. This whole Godzilla just feels a little cleaner. He feels a little nicer. We have a picture of the two of them side by side, so you can really see the design differences here. Again, Godzilla the Ride is much more brown, while the new one is much more grayish blue. The new one looks a lot more fierce and sharp and damaged, and really looks like things are going wrong for him. It looks like this Godzilla is the natural evolution of the one one from Godzilla the Ride. The spines have grown out of proportion. His chest is growing out of proportion. That scar on his chest is going crazy. All of his skin is kind of bubbling up, and it looks like this Godzilla truthfully is the evolution of the mutations started with Godzilla the Ride, and I love that. I love it for that. I know a lot of fans were just throwing a fit about the fact that the Godzilla design is very similar to something we've seen before. I just don't get how you could possibly have that takeaway. The Showa era reused designs consistently. The Heisei era pretty much kept one uniform design over the whole series. I just don't personally understand why people would be so upset that Godzilla the Ride's design would make it into a movie when they did Godzilla the Ride in the first place. A lot of fans really wanted that design to just be the Godzilla design in a movie, and they were begging for it, and now they give it to you, but they upgrade it, they make it better, they really improve it, and now people are complaining. Godzilla fans will never ever be happy with anything, it seems, and that's such a shame because this is, in my opinion, one of the best Godzilla designs we have ever gotten. I think it looks classic, but at the same time new and fearsome. I think it's a much better redesign of Godzilla than what we saw in the Millennium era. That's never been my favorite type of Godzilla redesign. I'm a big fan of this one. Chimeric Echo was the one who combined the design pictures into one picture. Dumbo Octopus notices some Stan Winston Godzilla-esque facial features from the unused Godzilla vs. the Griffin design. And then KS Praise again noticed the heritage-esque features on this Godzilla, which is something I've talked about in previous videos. Gomoru Island created this mashup poster for Godzilla Minus One, putting all the images we have of Godzilla into one picture. It's really great. Great job. This looks awesome. This is a cool wallpaper to use for the movie. Wow, would you look at me? I'm sitting here doing the outro now. That's so strange. Why is the outro happening right now? There's more to talk about. Well, in typical Derek fashion, I did the thing that D-Man always does where I get overwhelmed with too much work. There was too much for the one video, so I had to split it in two, which happens occasionally. So, if you want to hear me talk about the Godzilla statue that was revealed, getting into some more design thoughts, and if you want to hear me go over a full overview of the director Takashi Yamazaki's career, including some very good details on what to expect in the next Godzilla movie as he does some teasers, that'll be in the next Godzilla Minus One news and updates, which I cannot make today. I'm sorry, I'm just busy. I'm trying my best. Okay, I gotta wrap it up quick because I got stuff to do. All right, I want to give a huge thank you to my sorry, this is so rushed. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. I really appreciate the support I get from the Patreon. It truly does help keep this channel running and is what is currently helping me to produce videos like this for you guys. So if you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.